Did you know that upgrading your van seats can not only enhance your comfort, but also transform the entire vibe of your vehicle? This is Dan from Rambling Ambition, and today we're going to install a swivel seat on the passenger side. In this video, you'll learn how to install the swivel seat, not only making it cooler, but also making it more functional for your adventures. As you know, in vans, many van owners struggle with limited space and comfort, making it challenging to fully enjoy their vehicle during road trips or camping. Today, we're going to walk through the entire installation process step by step, covering the tools you need and some tips for a seamless upgrade for your seat. The moment you'll want to pay attention to is when we reveal the final look and installed swivel seat and demonstrate how they easily rotate and create more usable space in your van. So if this is something you're interested in, please stick around for the video. All right, so the seat that we decided to go with is the Scopema seat. This is the new upgraded version. That's going to have less rattles and be more solid than the previous version. The installation is pretty simple, and the tools that we're going to use today are an E12 star socket, and that socket is going to be for the factory bolts that hold the seat down, and then the included hardware are 17 millimeters. So we have a 17 millimeter socket and a 17 millimeter wrench. Now the first thing that we're going to do before we install the seat is to disconnect the power, because these seats have electronics associated with them, and Mercedes is kind of funny when you start unplugging stuff, and so we want to be able to pick the seat up and move it out of the way. So we're going to take that ground off. All right, so if you're in the driver's seat footwell area, there's a panel right beside the console that's right here, and behind this panel right here is the ground, and all you do is reach in and pop it off. There's a little push button on top. See, there's a little red button. You just push that down and it slides off the ground post, and now your system is disconnected, so we can disconnect any electronics associated with the seat without having any fault codes by the computer. So the first step is to put the seat all the way back. So we have manual seats, so we're just going to push this lever back, and that's going to give us access to the front two bolts. So we'll take that 12 socket and take those bolts off. So here's that E12. We're just going to set those aside. Now to get to the back bolts, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the reverse, which means we're going to move the seat all the way forward. And that's going to give us clear access to the back two bolts. All right, now that we have the seat loose from its base, we're just going to tilt it back so we can get access to the electrical plug. So if you've never taken your seat base off, this is basically what's underneath here. A lot of people use that space for their diesel heater. We did in our last van. We are not going to do it in this van. Our heater's going to go in the middle of the van. But the plug for the seat is right there. So we're just going to take this clip off right here and then pop this plug right off. The reason why we have to do that is because that's got to go up through the center of the swivel seat. All right, so you guys can see what we're doing. I actually just took the plastic mounting plate off, so it just clips around this rail and slides out of these two holes. But so this is the clip that we need to access, and there are two little tabs, one right there and one right there. We just need to push them in, and you just want to wiggle it out, and then now we just have to release this piece right here. All right, now that we have released that clip, and all we did was just take a tip of a small screwdriver and push these two pins in, and then this pulls right out. So now we're going to go ahead and set the swivel seat on the base. All right, so you can see this fits and lines up perfectly with the factory bolts. And then you have your swivel mechanism on that side. Now, I will show you that it does increase the height approximately an inch. Do take that into account if you have someone that's got shorter legs. It is going to raise the seat up just a little bit. So if you're a little bit taller, it might be a benefit for you. All right, now that we have everything in place, we're going to rotate the seat base so that we can put the first set of bolts that go through the factory locations. And in this case, all you do is pull the red lever back and then rotate. And we just needed to rotate it a little bit just so we have access to the factory bolt locations. Now, for those, we're going to use the longer bolts that come in the kit that have a really tight head on them, and we're just going to screw them down in the factory location. Bolt down the base, we're going to use the longer of the threaded bolts and with the skinny head, and they're going to screw down into the factory base. Again, that uses a 17mm socket. So we're going to use a little bit of blue thread locker on all of these bolts. I would lube everything loose until you get all 4 bolts threaded down, just to make sure that you can tighten everything down evenly. So we're going to torque those bottom ones down with a torque wrench to 35 Newton meters, which is I think around 26, 27 foot-pounds. All right, so that was pretty simple. The next step is we will set the seat back on that base. But before we got to do that, don't forget to reconnect the power cable, and that goes up straight through the center, so that's all done once you set it down. So the seat comes with some crash bars pins, which are right there, and there is a spot in the seat for that, and that's just in case you get into an accident. That seat's got another kind of locating point in the bracket. All right, now that we got that bracket, you can see where that clip locates right there, and that comes into the side of the seat rail, so that's nice and secure. And so now we'll go ahead and get the base ready to go. All right, I took a grinder with a disc wheel on it and just cut those tips off. So you can see now there's plenty of clearance. So our next step is to install the bolts, the ones with the thread locker on them. So it's a 17mm bolt with a 17mm nut, and that's going to come up from the bottom. And the reason for that is because of the clearances. Just like that one had to be short, this one has to be short too, so everything passes by. So all we're going to do is we're going to feed it up through the bottom and then put the nut on the top and tighten them down. And just like when we took out the factory bolts, we're gonna slide the seat back now all the way and get to the fronts. All right, now that those are in, we'll tighten everything down. All right, so the torque on these bolts is only 25 Newton meters, which is like 17 foot-pounds. All right, we'll slide that seat forward all the way and then get to the back too. All right, and that is the simple installation. So you have a full function of the slide of the seat just like it was normally. So like when it's locked in place. You have all the access and movement that you would, just like your seat was normal. In order to rotate the seat, we moved it all the way forward. Then we're gonna pull that red lever all the way to the back of the van, and it'll spin all the way around. And now you have a place in your seat that you can join the rest of the folks in the back of the van. It's an extra workstation. Now, one of the things that we're gonna do is we're gonna add a Lagoon table mount to the base of the seat, so you can sit here and eat, you can sit here and read a book, you can sit here and do work if you're working remotely. To summarize how everything went, we basically took out the 4 factory screws with an E12 socket. We removed the plastic or the foam piece on the inside of the seat. We unplugged the harness from the seat once we removed it from the seat base. We installed the swivel itself and rotated it so that we could bolt down the base of the swivel to the seat. Those were torqued down to 35 Newton meters. Then we had to grind off the pins, those security pins that I talked about. Note that the left side, the one closest to the driver's seat, has to be ground all the way flush to miss one of the restraint components of the seat base itself. So that one has to be ground down all the way. Then we bolted down we put the power clip back in, put the seat on the base, and used the Loctited bolts with the nuts. Torqued down to 25 Newton meters to set the seat base back down on. And it really only took about 30 minutes to do. So it was a super simple install, and it adds so much value to the van itself. So I hope you guys got something from the video. Don't forget to check out our other videos for more van upgrades and tips, and let us know in the comments how your swivel seat installation goes. This is Dan from Ramblin' Ambition, and we'll see you on the next one.